Hey, I'm Kristen,
And I'm Gibby.
and welcome to another episode of Porch Swing People.
As you know, each week we bring on guests to talk about anything they want. Sometimes it's about their past, sometimes it's about the current present, and sometimes it's their future aspirations. Today we have a super guest. Kristen, can you tell us who it
Yes,
is?
we are speaking with Lexi today, and I'm really looking forward to this. I'm so excited to hear what she has to say, some of her perspectives, and hearing some of her stories. So, without further ado, let's bring on Lexi.
Let me just say, being on mute listening to you guys talk is so fun. I was sitting here laughing.
Hi, Lex.
Hi,
Hello.
Lex.
Welcome to your episode of Porch Swing People.
Yeah.
It's very weird being on the other side. How do you feel, Kristen, former guest?
I'm loving it. And now, Lex, I would love for you to tell us a little bit about yourself.
A little about myself. Let's see. I am a mom. That's my favorite role. I have a wife. My wife and I are both public school teachers. I'm currently staying home with my kids. I have two kids who I love. I have a dog who I adore, who's right here with me. He loves Sunday mornings when we record because I'll be like, hey, bud, time to record. Let's go. And he hops right into his chair here in my recording studio / guest room. And it's just a good time.
Aw.
Yeah.
Lex, I have a question for you before we start. How long have you been married?
Oh, gosh. Let's see. It'll be 10 years this year.
Wow. What a milestone. That's wonderful.
I know. It's exciting. Thank you.
And it's not a trivia question because they had challenges for their wedding.
Yeah, we almost didn't do it. No, I'm kidding. That's not the challenge. We planned a beach wedding. We lived on the beach. And a beach wedding in October means high chance of hurricane actually hit on our wedding weekend. And we had to pivot within 72 hours to a mountain wedding, 3 hours inland. And we were hosting everyone at a beach house. So we had to move to what we could find, which was a smaller, but still pretty roomy log cabin with lots of people sleeping in bunk beds.
It was
Love
amazing,
that.
though. It really was.
Ended up being a really great weekend, of course. And everyone was really flexible. We had people flying in, so they had to change their flights. And I think the thing that I'm most grateful for is that our dog sitter was willing to watch all three of our dogs in the middle of a hurricane. And he was the best. We miss
That
him.
is a gift. And I hear a theme of the outdoors and nature, and that all just sounds
Yes.
lovely, even
Yeah.
though our hurricane was averted.
Everything just turned out so beautiful
It
and
is meant
lovely
to
and
be.
peaceful. It really was. People say that the hurricane was like good luck. I just learned, Gibby, and you can tell me if this is true or not, that on your wedding day there was a tornado in town.
And torrential rains. Yeah. I mean, I was soaked, and we lived just catty corner from the church that Brenda and I were married in, and just to get over there, I walked in. I was completely soaked. My hair was down,
Oh my gosh.
but everybody thought I was a flight risk there for a second. But no, I was good.
No.
No.
Well, Kristen, before we go on, why don't you tell us about your wedding since we're sharing stories?
Yeah.
Oh, it went off without a hitch for the most part. I think I
It's
almost got a
amazing.
speeding ticket driving there because I was running a little late. But it was fine. It was memorable in all the good ways. Uh,
Good.
Did you
yeah,
really get it? Did they really give you a speeding ticket on your way to the wedding?
She said
they
almost.
Oh,
almost.
almost. I
So
thought.
they pulled me over and they saw that I was in this long white
Oh
dress,
my
and
gosh.
my friends were in the back just cowering and kind of slinking down, right? Because I was driving my friend's car, and I think he was more nervous that I was going to hurt or damage his car,
Uh,
and to
Mm-hmm.
fear that I was going to be late to my own wedding. Yeah, and the police officer just kind of giggled and laughed and said, "Well, just be careful."
Good. That is
yeah.
exactly how that should have gone. That sounds like a movie.
Friends, family, everything was good. Check, check. Whether it was hot, I remember it was really humid and sticky. We got married in August in Virginia. Who does that? We thought it was a good idea when we were planning it.
The worst month in the South, in my opinion.
For sure.
Yeah.
For sure. So, Lex, tell us about a memory from the past that felt surreal.
Okay, I'm excited to talk about this. We have another question that is tell us about the most magical thing you've ever experienced. This is kind of like I couldn't decide. Is it magical or surreal? Which one is it? So I'll let you decide after I tell the story. So let's see. This would have been 9 years ago. Picture this: my wife and I sitting out in lawn chairs at the edge of a random field with some grandparents who aren't ours. We borrowed somebody's grandparents. The four of us are sitting out at the edge of the field in anticipation of something. Everything is starting to feel a little off in our surroundings. Everything can feel it. You can tell that the trees are feeling it, the animals, the birds. Things feel a little bit colder, and we're waiting for a moment in time. Does anyone know what I'm talking about?
I don't know. It sounds like a ghost or something is going to be
Eclipse.
appearing.
It was the total solar eclipse from 2017. We got to see the whole thing in totality for almost 2 minutes. My childhood friend's grandparents lived in the path, and I had never met them before. But I was trying to figure out where we could go see this thing because I knew everywhere on the path was going to be busy. So I reached out to these grandparents who I didn't know, and they were so welcoming. They let us stay with them. We had our 3 dogs with us, and they took us out to dinner at the Perkins in town. And then the 4 of us sat out on the field with our little glasses and watched the solar eclipse together. And it was incredible. Once totality starts, you can take your glasses off and look at it to see the solar flares around the moon. And as soon as that happened, everything goes dark. It looks like a sunrise or a sunset all around the horizon, 360. And we could hear the people in town cheering. So you could hear pop-ups of people cheering from all over, all surrounding us. And we were cheering, and I mean, it was so exciting. Like the fastest minute and 45 seconds ever. And then as soon as it was over, I was like, I understand why this is completely addictive and people are chasing these forever, because it's just such an unreal experience to have with other people and to have with the nature around you. We do have another total solar eclipse that crosses the United States sometime, I think maybe 2044-ish, maybe. So we've got a couple of decades, but I'll see y'all there, right?
Yeah, I'll be there.
Yes, I want to do an eclipse with you. It sounds like you know how to have the party, and it sounds like such a beautiful, like a natural experience, bringing people together. Right? People are celebrating. People are all kind of experiencing it at the same time.
Yeah.
That must have been incredible.
And actually, ever since then, we have sent our kind of pseudo adoptive grandparents Christmas cards every year, and we've sent them birth announcements, and they always send us something back. And it's been so nice to keep in touch with them, and I wish them well.
That's a wonderful story. Hey, Lex, name a lost art that you hope has a comeback.
Okay, a lost art that I hope has a comeback. I'm so excited to talk about this one. It is passing notes in school.
I love that. I think I still do that at work, but anyway.
Well, that's because it's an art that we are all familiar with. I wanted to come back for the younger generations. Some schools are starting to have cell phone bans, highly controversial topic. Whatever's happening within a particular school, I just hope that kids learn how fun it is to simultaneously try to be tuned into the lesson that's happening while you're also writing out everything that's going on in your life on a piece of paper and passing it to your friend between classes. I have 2 stories to tell. The first one is from 4th grade, so I would have been like 10. I came in from recess to find a note on my desk that I was not expecting. Turns out it was a love note from a peer, and it said, "Dear Alexis, I love you. P.S. This is from someone in your class." And as a 10-year-old, I was totally horrified. But I was also like, who left this note? And how did I not know about it? So there's all this speculation about who it could have been from. But I didn't have to wonder too long because one of my classmates, Diego, at any time we were in line, he would say, Alexis, Jose loves you. He wrote you a note. So I knew it was from Jose. And I didn't know Jose that well. We sat on opposite sides of the class. But I was thinking about this. This popped in my head the other day. And I was thinking, man, we could have had a good friendship, Jose. And I didn't give you a chance. And it was the end of the school year. You know, we were moving on. But that took so much bravery. And so if he ever hears this, I just commend you for your courage because that takes a lot of guts to leave a note like that.
Yeah.
But then later in middle school, my best friends and I spent a lot of time writing notes. I have no idea how we had so much stuff to write about, but we wrote so much that we started to try to conserve paper, like we're writing in the margins. We learned that that was not enough. And actually, I'm talking about Beth, who's coming up on the pod in a couple of weeks, Gibby.
Okay.
And so we came up with this idea called 0.5 writing, where we would write half a line. So every line we could fit 2 lines of writing. And on wide ruled paper, we could write 0.3 because we had really good pens. And we would have 3 lines of writing per line.
I'm trying to visualize this.
Fold it up really small and pass it between class. I feel like this is a lost art and a missed opportunity for our youth today. This just brings me so much joy to think about the connections that we had. Even when we weren't together in class, we were writing down the important things that were going on in our lives. And people need to slow down. People need to write more notes to each other.
I think writing letters and cards in general, not just writing notes to your classmates and, you know, check this box if yes, check this box if no,
Yeah.
right? All that fun stuff. In general is just kind of gone.
Mm-hmm.
I make my kids, they're the teenagers, write thank you letters at a minimum to their grandmother and their aunt and family members for Christmas gifts, for example, or birthday
Good.
presents.
That's cool.
When you get a letter in the mail or a note or something handwritten, there's more meaning now into just that gesture beyond the words, right? You're right, Lex. Like it's lost on these kind of younger generations, and I hope with the phone bans that kids can kind of default back to expressing themselves on a piece of paper and cramming it in and 0.5 and you need to like put like a YouTube video out on that and or a TikTok and have like, you know, kids get inspired.
Yeah, let's bring this back.
Okay, kids, this is how you do it.
So you're going to get a shoebox and you're going to put all of your old notes in the shoebox. Yeah, a little how-to on how to be a kid from the 2000s.
Kristen, did you do the same, or do you must have a story you were thinking it was like, I remember something embarrassing? Or
we had interesting, I don't know if Lexi and Gibby, you did this when you were younger. We would fold, it wasn't a note per se, but we would fold the paper up and then we would move it, and it was almost like a magic
It's a cootie catcher is what you're describing.
Exactly.
Yeah.
And we would ask it little questions and have little answers. A lot of time coloring it, or, you know, I don't know, do you
cootie
like
catcher.
so-and-so? Does so-and-so like me?
Yeah.
No. Right.
It's like a magic 8 ball, but with, yeah. And you really believed the answers that it gave you. Those things are so sacred, you know?
Yeah. Right.
That's a good one.
Hey, Lex, what are you grateful for these days?
Hands down, I'm so grateful for nurses. I'm grateful for NICU nurses, PICU nurses, labor and delivery nurses, my midwives. We have had so many nurses in the last several years, and I am grateful for every single one and the ones that I haven't met. I'm so just grateful for everything they do all the time for very long shifts. I honestly can't imagine the endurance that you have to have physically and also in your heart.
Unsung heroes.
Absolutely. When people find out that I am a special education teacher, I hear the same thing over and over. You and nurses, angels. And I say, oh, nurses are great.
Yep.
I just wanted to express my gratitude for how taken care of I feel like I have been and my family has been in the medical setting in the last several years, and how much I know that that is an immense privilege. And I think about this all the time. I wish that everyone could have equal access to high quality healthcare, and that it doesn't matter where you're located, how much money you have, what insurance you have, or the color
Yeah.
of your skin, that everybody has access to high quality healthcare, because that is what we need in order to stay alive.
And thrive. Yeah.
I also wanted to express my gratitude for surgeons, because we have had a lot of surgery in my family in the last 5 years as well. I'm in awe that people become surgeons. It's incredible. Last year, my son, who was one at the time, had a pretty major surgery. My wife and I shared with our community online kind of what was going on, and we had put out for a meal train during our hospital stay from the surgery through his recovery. It was supposed to be about 3 to 5 days in the hospital. And we asked for support from our friends and family, which was something that was really hard to do and felt so weird. I usually like to be on the end of giving help instead of asking for it. And our friends and family showed up so incredibly. Like, I was in tears every day by people's help. I mean, we were just flooded with people sending us gift cards for meals while we were in the hospital. Somebody sent us money specifically to help with our boarding costs for Mosby, because we had him boarded while we weren't at home. We had a friend who, my wife asked her to do this because she knew she's really good at sewing, but she sewed on a little stuffed animal for my son, the scar pattern from his surgery onto the head of the stuffed animal, and we brought that to the hospital with us. He had it the whole time, and he still sleeps with it. I'm grateful for my older son and my parents when they came to visit in the hospital. I was nervous about how it'd go because my older son was only 3, and I didn't know what he would think about the appearance of post surgery for my 1 year old. And it did not faze him at all. It was incredible. My 1 year old was getting his vitals taken by one of the nurses, which quickly became his least favorite part of the day, and unfortunately happened all day long. My 3 year old, who was there during one of them, said something like, "It's okay. I know it's scary, but I'm here now." And
Oh,
my parents and my wife and I are like in tears by this incredible little soul. I just felt so grateful for that. I wanted to express my gratitude for nurses and for surgeons and for our community and our family. And I know I'm rambling, but I wanted to let people know that we were so grateful for their financial support during that time, and that we actually had some money left over that we didn't know what to do with because we came home from the hospital and we were all right. So we took some of the money and we donated it to the Family Resource Center at Seattle Children's. And we also donated some to this organization that creates care packages for these little patients and their families, specifically who have this condition, that put together things to bring to the hospital for their surgery and their hospital stay. I just wanted to put that out there because we shared this vulnerable time period with our community online, and then we moved on from it, and I wanted to circle back and say thank you again, and that we made sure that we passed your love and your support forward.
It was an incredible time. And those 2 boys that she had mentioned, man, they are thick as thieves. It's fun just watching them interact. I mean, then they're brothers. They have their challenges, but they are best friends.
thank you for sharing all of that, Lexi, with such grace and strength. It's having had uh, our son when he was Gibby knows a lot of this. Yeah, it's devastating. The hospital experience with a baby with a child, um,
Mm-hmm.
surgeons. But going back to your comment about the nurses and especially highlighting them as they are the face that your child sees nearly every day, more than one time a day,
Mm-hmm.
right? their ability to kind of comfort and, just even try to make your kid smile when he's in the hospital. It really is a gift. Thank you so much for sharing all of that.
Oh, thank you for saying that. It's so true. I mean, I feel like all they do is give. Ugh, I just can't even imagine. So, yeah, so grateful. And I'll always be grateful for nurses.
When our son was in the hospital quite a bit when he was little, at one point he said he had a male nurse who attended to him a few nights in a row in the hospital. And when he came home, he was 4, I think, at the time. He said, "I want to be a nurse." And I thought, yes, please, because you will make a difference. You
Hmm.
will have impact. You will really have that ability just to heal, and in many ways than one, right? It's a
Yeah.
beautiful thing.
I love that you brought that up. I have a conversation about representation later that I'm excited to talk about.
So Lex, I'm so excited about this question. uh, which song or musical artist or musical genre can you listen to that instantly lifts your spirits?
Oh my gosh, I love talking about music. I have two I want to bring up. The first one is soundtracks. I love soundtracks and movie scores. I really love, and if you haven't listened to it for a while, you need to listen to it start to finish, even the lyrical songs, the entirety of The Lion King. The music is just so good.
It's
You
great.
think it's a
Yeah.
joke. It's like,
No, I don't.
it is emotional. It will make you laugh and it will make you cry. And this is just from the music, not from the lyrics. So, like later, a couple, like track 6 or 7 and on, it's the movie score music. It is the best, and there's choir parts in it. I just saw, and I'm hoping to share this on the podcast Instagram page, this video of a figure skater dancing to one of my favorite songs from The Lion King, one of the non lyrical songs. And it is so moving to see the music and the movement at the same time. I want to share it with our guests because I love the music and I love anything that's dance oriented too. It's incredible. But my second one is a band, and I'm sure Gibby could come up with it.
Yeah, I'm going to go with Dave Matthews.
Obviously, right? So, Dave Matthews, the person, he's from here in Seattle. And when my wife and I still lived on the other side of the country, one of my bucket list items was to go see Dave Matthews Band at the Gorge Amphitheater in Washington State because he goes there every year over Labor Day weekend. They play 3 shows, 3 nights in a row, and it's the best time. And it's the best outdoor venue.
It's amazing.
So one year I was telling this to my wife and she's like, "Well, let's go. Let's just do it. We're not working on Labor Day weekend. Let's fly there." So we did. And it was awesome. And we've gone a few times since. And it was also the first time that we visited Washington State and the thing that brought us to deciding to move here. I wanted to share some of the songs because the question specifically is what lifts my spirits.
Yeah.
Dave Matthews Band, they have great songs covering a wide variety of topics. A lot of them are about living life and what kind of life do you want to live. For example, Gibby, this wasn't going to be my first one that I shared, but you made a comment before the show. Lie in Our Graves, that song. I can't believe that we would lie in our graves wondering if we have spent our remaining days, wondering if our best days are behind us. Or, of course, their anthem, Ants Marching.
Mm-hmm.
Take these chances, place them in a box until a quieter time. Lights down, you up and die. The one that is on my mind a lot lately, it's one of their newer songs, is from 2012, Mercy.
Yeah.
Singing Mercy, will we overcome this? One by one, could we turn it around? Maybe carry on just a little bit longer, and I'll try to give you what you need. And it's a song of hope and a song of community and coming together and just hanging on a little bit longer through tough times, which is something
Yeah.
that I feel like we need right now. Kristen, do you love Dave Matthews?
I do. And I have actually a funny story about Dave Matthews because, where I live in Virginia, He
Yeah, he's from
also
Charlottesville.
a lot of
Yeah.
time here, yeah, and have been able to have opportunities to see him in concert. And after we had those horrible events in Charlottesville, he organized a concert, a free concert here in town. It was incredible. All the Coldplay, Justin Timberlake, and it was just bringing our community together. But the funny story about Dave Matthews is when I was dating Michael, when I lived here, and he would fly in, he would come visit me, and we were going to meet at a pub, one of the local bars here. I was running late, and I joined Michael at the bar. Did he tell you this story, Gibby?
Yeah, but keep going.
And Michael's just sitting there at the bar, and he goes, "I was just talking to the nicest guy." And, and so it was a bar that Dave Matthews used to go into all the time, and he was kind of like a regular. And Michael had this long conversation with him, didn't know it was him, was talking to him probably for about an hour that Dave Matthews was sitting at the bar. Dave
Oh
Matthews
my
leaves.
gosh.
Bartender goes to Michael, he goes, "You know who that was, right?" And Michael's like, "No." He said, "Well, that was Dave Matthews."
Oh my
Yeah.
gosh. That is the
Do you
best
think-
story.
Do you think that he liked the fact that he got to have a normal conversation?
I am sure that Dave
I would like to
loved
think
that
that that's how
conversation.
he was viewing this. Is like, I get to have a genuine conversation with
He
somebody
gets to
that
be a
doesn't know
person.
him. Yeah.
They were talking about Charlottesville. Michael said, "I'm here visiting my girlfriend," and things. They were talking about like new restaurants in town. Dave Matthews is very much into land conservation here
Mhm.
in our area. Was talking about that. Michael had no idea.
That is the best story. I can't believe
Yeah.
I haven't heard that story.
But his music is beautiful. His lyrics are, as you just highlighted, like when you break his lyrics down and you're actually saying them like poetry. I mean, it's
Yep.
it's beautiful.
Truly, the lyrics are like poetry.
Hey, Lex, share a time you had a meaningful connection with nature or an animal.
I love birds, and I would say I'm kind of an amateur birder because I try to look at birds, and I feel like that's all you need to do to become a birder is to just look at them. And the one I wanted to talk about was the woodpecker family in my backyard. We have this tree, this dead tree in our backyard that stands pretty tall. Just the top half has been cut off. For a while, I was like, why is that dead tree there? It's unsightly. It's like I have all these live trees and then I have that one. And then I learned that woodpeckers love to use dead trees to form their nests. They put holes in the tree kind of towards the top of it, and that's where their nests are. And a little woodpecker family moved in last year. It was like the most magical summer because I had my kids out playing. The woodpecker had their little kids in their little nest that overlooked our yard. And I have multiple videos of my kids playing and then panning to the little nest on the tree and seeing a little baby bird peeking out, watching my kids play, because I always say babies recognize babies, kids recognize kids. That's my little nature moment. And as of this week, the woodpeckers have come back and they're starting to prep again for another year.
Yay.
In terms of birding, that kind of started for me when my wife and I visited the Everglades during one spring break. Amazing place to be if you can ever go. I was talking to her about this the other day, and I was like, hey, I'm going to bring up the Everglades on the podcast. What was your favorite bird there? And without a second, she's like, oh, the double-crested cormorant. And I was like, well, of course, the double-crested cormorant. So I did want to ask if either of you have a favorite bird.
You're up.
You don't have a favorite bird?
I'm like bursting because I love birds. I'm going to give two answers. I love ospreys. They're my absolute favorite. And when I was growing up, so, I was born in 1969. I was a kid of the 70s and the 80s. You didn't see pelicans, you didn't see bald eagles, and you didn't see osprey because we were using a chemical pesticide at the time that made the eggs for a lot of the birds that would eat fish, because this chemical would, kind of go up the food chain.
Mhm.
Eggs were too thin, right? And they would just not be able to propagate. So I grew up not seeing this at all. Like I didn't go to North Carolina and see pelicans. Just didn't. I didn't go to North Carolina when I was growing up and see osprey. So when they finally started coming back, and I had the opportunity to live in Maryland on the water in the Chesapeake Bay, and I saw osprey all the time. We had a big osprey nest behind our house on this one little kind of, I don't know, I guess you would call it kind of like a little part of the river that
Mm-hmm.
came off the Chesapeake Bay. It was just, I love them. I love watching their babies. I love watching them build their nests. We had one dump a big fish, like he caught the fish and he dropped it on the roof of our house. And we couldn't figure out, like, what does that smell? Do you smell that? It's awful. Well, we found it's just like rotting
Oh
fish.
my.
We just kind of, go to a big tree behind and eat the fish. Anyway, I love osprey. But it's snowing where I am right now, and when it snows, the bird life it's amazing. So I keep my
Yeah.
feeders full, and
Ah,
you see rufous-sided towhees. They come out. They're
Mm.
very kind of shy birds, so you don't really see them. They're always in the underbrush. But when it snows, they come out and they're pretty bold. They show themselves, and they're just beautiful. They're kind of bigger birds, black, white, and a little buff orange belly with their female buddies. So
Mm-hmm.
I'm enjoying the towies today.
Oh,
cool.
that is a good answer. I love winter birds, and when they're standing on snow, it just is so magical. I don't know why.
If there's nothing like seeing five male cardinals in snow on a pine tree. I have a
Yeah.
Yeah.
lot of photographs of that.
The
And the other thing
contrast is
about the
amazing.
cardinals, when they come to feed at the feeder, they always bring you. You will always know that their female counterpart is close by, and vice
Yeah.
versa. If you
Oh,
see a female, you need to look around for the male. They feed together.
that's very cool.
Yeah.
All right, I'll share mine. We have two owls at work, and
Do you know what kind?
um, um, I don't know. I'll,
Okay.
I'll figure it out. But they're
Get your
big.
book out, man. Come on.
Yeah.
Yeah, I know,
Get
right?
the guide out.
But they're beautiful, and they have their chicks every year in a pretty in the V or whatever of this tree, and it's just right outside the entrance
Mm-hmm.
of one of the buildings. And of course, you guys know I have Poppy, my service animal. They when after they have their chicks, they Poppy is a predator to them, and you can hear the male. He'll be up, and you can hear him going. I'm like, and Poppy, she starts cringing right away. I have the coolest videos of him diving us, and he just swoops by really close. I mean, Lex has seen it, the
Mm-hmm.
videos. I mean, almost touching me, and of course I'm agging it on because it's cool, but we leave him
Gibby.
alone. It's after that,
I
but
love owls. I don't get to see them very much, but we do have bald eagles and ospreys that live in our neighborhood. Kristen, they're really fun to
Beautiful.
see.
Gibby, you gotta figure out what that owl is, and you gotta let me know.
okay.
Lex, I am so curious to hear what is a book that you highly recommend?
Okay, I knew I wanted to do a book recommendation because I love when people bring books onto the pod. We post them on our Instagram and Facebook pages, so we have a kind of collection of little book recommendations. But before I get to mine, I wanted to share a quick story from my first year of teaching. I was 22, so still in that phase where I'm still trying to figure things out, and now I'm in charge of case managing and teaching kids. And I was in a program that worked with kids on their emotional and behavior disorders, autism, ADHD. The biggest part of my program is that their behaviors were impacting their ability to be in class. So I worked with them on learning social emotional skills and worked with them on their behavior to help them feel like they could be more successful in their classrooms and throughout the school. And it was an awesome job. I loved it. I had one student who had a really hard time working through unexpected events, feeling overstimulated, social events that he wasn't sure how to navigate. And that would result in some pretty big, loud, aggressive behavior that then made him feel like he was misunderstood by people because he was branded as that kid or the aggressive kid. And we spent a lot of time together. I stumbled upon this book. I don't remember where I found it from, but I knew I had to buy a copy. So I bought a copy of this book called Armand Goes to a Party. It's a picture book. It's written by an author and the real Armand that it's inspired by, who has Asperger's. And he was invited to a birthday party by his friend, but he was really nervous about it because he knew that the kids were going to be loud and that they weren't going to want to talk about dinosaurs. And there's balloons, they might pop, and they might play games that he doesn't know. And so he was just worried about all of the unknown factors and the factors he knew he feels overstimulated by. But he also knew he wanted to go anyway because she's his friend and he wanted to be a good friend. So I bring this book in, and one day at lunch, my student and I were reading this book. He's really into it. I didn't really give any preface. I just said I got this book for us to read. We get to a part where it's all starting to feel a little too much, and you can see Armin has, his hands on the side of his face, and he's feeling dysregulated, and he says to his friend's mom, "I need a break." And so she brings him to a quiet room so he can play with dinosaurs and take a break and a moment to breathe by himself. We're reading this, and my student touches the page and looks up at me and says, "That's like me." And I was like so surprised by how emotional that moment was for both of us, for him to recognize that he was seeing himself in a character in a book. And this is what the representation I was talking about earlier with the male nurse you were talking about, that I was like, we need more books with autistic kids right now. And this was not even that long ago. I felt so grateful that I was able to find this and that someone had written this and that he was able to see himself painted in a way that wasn't bad and that was the main character, because there were some books, but it was a lot like My Autistic Brother and Me. Oh. So the main character was like the sibling, which is also a very important area that needs to be covered in picture books, but not a lot with the main character. So to jump forward, my book recommendation is number one, an incredible book because of the plot and the story. It'll draw you in. But number two, because of the way that people can feel like they identify with the characters in the book in a variety of ways. Anyone who has felt like they have been systematically othered or that they have been systematically made to feel inferior from other people, this author touches on a wide variety of areas and communities that may have felt like that, but also the book is really good. So here it is. It's called The House in the Cerulean Sea. It's based in like a magical world, and it's by T.J. Klune. I highly recommend it. It's a great read, but it's also so wonderful to see so many groups of people represented in such a positive way.
Oh, very cool. I'll just read yours when you're done.
I've already read it. You can borrow mine.
Okay. Such an emotional podcast. I'm loving it.
I mean, like, I'm processing this and I'm just like, gosh, Lex has so many inspiring, relevant, emotional anecdotes and stories. And, just in that description of the book and your interaction with your student, if I was on the pod today and I was asked what I would be grateful for, I would be grateful to have Lex as a teacher and, educator for my children. I don't know. I just appreciate your...
I think you're way too kind.
Perspectives.
Hey, Kristen, just remember, I taught her everything she knows.
I knew.
I knew, because I'm so predictable.
Let me just say, my last question, it's not as deep. Trust me. It's going to be okay. All right? Yeah, right. I wanted to end on something light. You'll like it.
All right. Well, let's get to that one then. Name a scene from a TV show or a movie that you reference all the time.
Kristen, have you ever seen the wonderful show from the late 80s, early 90s called Full House?
Yeah. Yeah.
I grew up watching Full House. You've seen it?
With the Olsen twins when they were little.
Yeah.
That's correct. Yep.
Yeah.
Yeah. So the premise of the show, you have Danny Tanner. He is now a single dad because his wife passed, and he's got 3 young girls. And suddenly he's like, what? I'm lost. So he brings in his brother-in-law and his childhood best friend, and the 3 of them raise the kids together. For being 30 plus years old, Still a great show, and still lots of great lessons. What I love about it is that it's so gentle, and it's it's just wonderful how you can solve any problem in a 30-minute sitcom where the problems are so deep, and then
Always.
suddenly,
Yep.
yeah,
Yeah.
you hug it out and things are
Yeah.
good now. And you've learned. But there's this one episode I think of all the time. It's where the girls go to summer camp and they have the best time staying in a cabin. They have their camp counselors. They're in nature. Everything is fun and life feels different because they're in this magical zone where it's just so far removed from their regular life. Then they go home, and all the youngest one wants to do is go back because that feeling was so great being at camp.
Mhm.
And they're like, I know, but we can't. Camp is over. Well, come to find out, she took home their camp pet that they had found, which was a bunny rabbit. And they're like, oh no, what are we going to do? We can't keep this rabbit. We have to go return it to the wilderness back at camp. The older sister and her boyfriend, and then the two younger sisters, they all drive out to camp. And when they get there, they find out that camp is not camp anymore. Nobody's there. Everything is locked up and dark. The bunk beds don't have sheets anymore. They're just the frames. Everything's dark. It's rainy and muddy and kind of scary and creepy. And they're thinking about the scary camp stories that they told back at camp about a mud man. Um, it's a silly plot because
Mm.
Danny and the other guys come in, they fall in the mud, and then they're like, oh, and they look like the mud man, and so it's pretty silly. But the idea has always stuck in my mind about camp is over, and that's okay. And I've carried this thought with me my entire life. I compare it to everything about how things come and go in your life, and they're great. And then when it's gone, you want it to still be there. I don't want to paint this as all good things come to an end because that's not what it is. It's that all good things are good for the time period that they're meant to be good. And it's
Yeah.
okay that things have a start and finish. It's okay that friends come and go in your life and you still love them. And if they come back, you still love them. And it's okay that there are special times in your life that come to an end. Anytime something kind of ends, I'm like, well, that's summer camp. It's okay that it ended. And I hope that I can pass that sentiment on to my kids, that they can realize things come and go. That's how life works. Uh, I mean, it's like we're on a train and we're passing by things. It's okay that it's over.
You are such a good storyteller, Lex. You
Oh
really
gosh,
are.
please, thank you.
Big
Yeah.
storyteller.
I understand that sentiment and I relate to that sentiment. And my variation on that is, even if you wanted, every year at summer camp is different. Even if you think that it's going to be the
Mm,
same and you're going to have the same friends and the same
yeah,
routine and the same feelings and the same experiences, it's always going to be different. Like
that's
you'll
a
never
really good
be
one.
able to return to that same version of something, whether it's a friendship or a job or an experience like camp.
Yeah,
Yeah.
that is a great point. Yeah, that's a good one. What about you, Gibby? Tell us your deep thoughts about time and space.
I like rocks. I don't know, and I'm
I
sorry.
love rocks. Rocks are
I
important
do
too.
too.
Simple.
Simple
Yeah,
thoughts.
yeah. My simple thoughts. I just turned 60. That one kind of messed with me. I'm not as spry as I used to be. I'm feeling a lot of the pains and aches and from my youth, especially my time in the service, and I
Hmm.
wouldn't trade any of it. I would do it all over again. I would do it harder if I had the opportunity. So I don't regret any of it. But I'm starting to see the time differently, and being around the people that I love and I cherish is much more important than doing obscure things. We all are on this planet for a small, very small time, and so this one's been a little bit different, a little bit more sober. Well, that's the end of your questions, Lex.
Yep. Sorry, I had a lot of questions.
I saw your questions, and every one of them, I was like, oh, I can't wait to hear what she says.
That's how I feel too. Yeah, when we get the people's
excited.
questions, I'm like, yeah, this is gonna be good.
Hey, and then shout out to you, Kristen, for sharing this time with us. You were fantastic.
Amazing co-host. Thank you.
First of all, I can't believe you asked me to be part of this with Lex. And so thank you for the opportunity. And so when I was on the pod and I was going through the questions to have on hand to discuss with you, I loved that experience. And I walked away with some introspection, I guess is that the word, or, having the ability to think through things that I never really took the time to understand about myself or kind of had some insights. And it was really a gift. So thank you. But then on this part and this side of it, to just really hear you, Lex, talk about your experiences, your perspectives. For me, my takeaway today is how inspired I am by you. So thank you, really, again.
Oh.
So
Aw, thanks for
I'm
saying that.
really grateful.
It is so nice being on the host side and taking in people's stories and learning from them. It is a gift.
Thank you so much, Lex, for sharing your stories and your time. And Kristen, thank you for co-hosting. It was a wonderful episode. Porch Swing People, out. Porch Swing People is recorded and produced by Lex and Gibby. Opening music was written and produced by Michael Gibson. Porch Swing People is a podcast featuring everyday people. If interested in being a guest, email us at porchswingpeeps@gmail.com.